Welcome to the Superabound podcast, where vision-led entrepreneurs learn to build a generous business without sacrificing what matters most. You are listening to episode 347. We haven't even come up with a title for it yet because we're co-creating this.
I love it.
And I am joined today with a very special guest, by a very special guest. Annyse is the founder, CEO of LuminUS. She's going to tell us all about her incredible business story. And first off, I just want to congratulate you because I know that this is officially 10 years that
I
you
know.
have been a amazing business owner.
Yeah, it has been 10 years, which really felt like a complete pipe dream when I started. And so I think I'm still, even though we celebrated last summer, I'm still digesting that we made it to 10 years. And just this morning, I met with an old colleague just over Zoom and shared that with her. And, both of us were like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Yeah. So a total pipe dream when I started, but yeah, just letting that all sink in this year.
So good.
Hmm.
Yeah. And, as people who listen to this podcast know, we never really pre-plan what we're going to talk about, but I have a lot of questions and directions. But I actually wanted to start with something very fun today. Um, Folks who've been listening for a while know that I am an avid tarot reader, oracle deck aficionado. I really love bringing divination tools into business. I think that business is a spiritual practice. And I think that a lot of times folks will compartmentalize aspects of their spiritual life because they're like, it's not serious, it's not businessy.
Yeah.
Um, and I read tarot cards with clients sometimes. I
Yeah.
read them for business when I'm stuck with something. So, something that is very cool about you
Mm.
is you actually created your own luminous deck. Can you
We
tell us
co
about this first?
we co-created them.
Yes, co-created.
Yes, we really did
Mhm.
because we wanted to build a deck that was built with luminous energy. So we had been using other people's beautiful decks, and that is all great. But we came to a point in time that we wanted to really build a luminous deck. And of course, I had no idea how to do that. And so at the time, we were hosting women's circles. We did that for once a month, sort of in my home for 4 years. So we had done that for a long time. Yeah. And there was a group of around 15 women who we invited to come and co-create the cards with us. And so we it was a Saturday night in late April, and we thought we were golden. We had bought the supplies, the paint, the watercolor paper. We bought everything, the wine, the snacks. We had everything. And we thought, okay, we're going to do this together. And we had a little bit of a process. We made a list of 40 things in nature. We knew we wanted the deck to have 40 cards in it. So we made a list of 40 things in nature. We wrote them down and then we cut them out and, folded them up and threw them in a bowl. So we thought
Mm.
women could pick out something, and if it said sunshine or if it said the jungle or whatever, then they could paint what that brought to mind for them. And so that there was at least some structure and it wasn't just like have at it. Like we weren't quite sure how to do it. So that's what we did. We were all ready to go. And then, as a true Canadian spring is like an ice storm, much like today, it's an ice
Yes,
storm today. All the
yes.
kids are home today, snow day. And everyone canceled one by one. It was a really nasty storm that everyone just slowly started canceling. So, Kathy, who is my best friend and who is in the business with me, she was already over. She came over super early that day to help me get set up. And we were so disappointed and
Mhm.
sad and then mad at the universe. And so we basically just said, like, screw this and let's just try it. And everyone in our little chat was like, yeah, yeah, do it, do it. And, send them through. And so after maybe 2 drinks, we kind of started like just, fine, let's just do it. And we painted all 40 cards in one sitting.
Mhm.
And when that was done, we laid them all out on the floor. And I kid you not, it was like the words fell from the sky
Mm-hmm.
and landed on them. And the names were linked with the images literally under 5 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
And and when we really thought about it, so we took pictures of it and we sent it to the group chat. And they're like, yeah, these are awesome. Keep going, you know. I really believe that they were co-created and that the universe said only two pen strokes
Mm.
or the deck might
Mm.
look silly.
Yeah.
And so they forced us into two pen strokes. And even now, you can't tell who painted which one. They look like one artist did it.
Mm-hmm.
Artist. I use artist pretty loosely in this
Hey,
definition.
you
But
created art.
we,
That makes you an artist. I think that's
totally.
perfect.
It's so funny. And so we and just yeah, we have no art background. Neither of us, you know, paint or do that as a hobby, which is why we asked other people to do it for us.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I think, you know, we've had time to reflect on it, and we thought, oh no, these were co-created. All of those women's energy were in that deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
We share that story like in the decks. We acknowledge every woman that poured her intention and heart into these decks, and the images and the words just happen to come through to, like, you know, four hands instead
Yeah.
of, you know, maybe 30 that might have gathered that day. So that's how they were birthed. Really, it was like I couldn't have planned it that way. It was not our plan, but that's how that came to life.
And, I think about this a lot because we're working on the possibility of doing a deck with the next book. And when I think about how you did it in like an afternoon
Right?
without needing all of the perfect things in place, like it would have been so easy to just say, no one can come, we'll do it another day.
Yeah.
But you did it, you created it. People can buy them. They're beautiful. I have a deck, and I was actually maybe hoping for those of you who are watching this instead of listening,
Sure.
maybe you would pull a card and let it guide our conversation today.
Of course, I would love to.
And for everybody listening, watching, I will post how you can get the cards in the show notes at besupermom.com/podcast for this episode. You can connect with Annyse and buy her cards if you love them as much as I do.
Beautiful. Okay, so I'll just ask the deck to what would help us guide us through this conversation today, and really be best for. Oh,
There's
all right.
one.
There's the card. It jumped out. I
Oh,
wasn't even done asking the question.
I love it.
And the power card came out. And I noticed you're wearing a moon necklace.
I am wearing
today.
a moon. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
And that's our sort of logo.
Oh, yeah.
So cool that the moon is here today. So we will lean on that
So good.
on that power card.
Yeah. And just for folks who are recording this, it's like just after the new moon. It was just yesterday. So we're like new moon, Lunar New Year.
Yes.
So there you go. That's fun.
That's so fun.
So maybe that's actually a great place to start then is you had a corporate career and stepped into your power, your expertise, and did the thing that I think so many people wish they could do, but are really scared of.
Yeah.
Just starting your own business. So can you tell us a little bit about your origin story, how you created LuminUS?
Sure. I'm a chemical engineer by training, and I worked in the water treatment industry for over a decade, and I had global positions mostly. So we designed water treatment plants, drinking water, wastewater, desalination, industrial water all over the world for a long time, and really used so much of my technical skill sets, and then was introduced to I really feel like I invoked what I do now into my life. I said in my head so many times when we were in really frustrating meetings, in between frustrating meetings, with irritating conversations, with all of the things that were sort of outside of the technical piece, I said in my head and out loud often enough that, some people didn't love it, but like, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way to make decisions, to collaborate, to co-create, to like, we would talk about managing change. I was like, can we just create change? Like, why? Like the
Mm.
managing part just makes it feel terrible right from the get-go. Like, what are we doing? And I worked for GE, so kind of like the corporation of all corporations, especially, in their heyday.
Mhm.
And so I then came across this way of working outside of work. It was something I was doing to get involved in my community. And I witnessed a planning meeting, and then I witnessed the actual meeting. And I thought, I've been to a million meetings, I've been to a lot of events, I've been to a lot of conferences. I have never been to anything like this before. And I left that first planning meeting like knowing it was like in me. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm like, I called Kath on the way home and was like, so this crazy thing happened tonight. And I think this is like what I've been looking for my whole life, really. And so I just started doing it, and opportunities started showing up,
Mhm.
sort of that way that the universe starts showing you your path once you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I can see it, right? And I mean, see it, you could see like a teeny tiny
Yeah.
glimpse of it.
There's mist, but it's there.
Yeah, so I just like started doing it, and it wasn't really with any intention other than like, can we just talk better at work? Can we like, let's do the things that we're going to go do, but like a bit of a different way, and let's just see what the results are. So I was really lucky, and I got to practice all over the world. Got to practice with people from many different countries. Some conversations happen in different languages. I just said, the agreement is we write our notes in English. Cool. Is that, if that's cool, then then go ahead. So I was really lucky that way. And then I knew in my heart first that I was meant to do this work, that I was going to do this work, but I didn't really know how. I had a mentor that she used to be a nurse, and she ended up doing this same work in the world. And that's who I met the first night that this was introduced to me. And thankfully, she lived right close to me. Um, and I started, talking with her. I was running some things. This took place like over several years. Like I
Sure.
had another baby. There was like
Yeah.
lots of things happening. Um, and then but I kind of knew in my heart that, oh, I'm meant to do this work. I never thought in a million years I'd be an entrepreneur. That was not in my game plan.
Hmm.
I do not come from a line of entrepreneurs. Basically, my family was like, this seems terrifying, and you have a really cozy, comfy corporate job. Like, what are you talking about? You
Hmm.
sound like a crazy person.
Hmm.
And I said, no, I think it's going to happen. And then there was a knowing. I don't tell everybody this part of the story, but there was a knowing. I remember it was about June of, I guess, 2014. And I remember standing at my house, looking out in my backyard, doing the dishes. And I turned and I looked at my husband, who at the time, who was sitting at the table, and I said, they're going to package me out so I can start my own business. He was like, what? He's like, I play hockey with a ton of people from your work. He goes, I don't think you're top of the list to get packaged out. Like, come on. Like, he kind of had an inside kind of
Hmm.
look. And I just looked at him and I said, no, like, I just know that. I was like, I do not know how. And then I didn't say anything. Then I just went about my business. I kept, people kept tapping me on the shoulder at work, like, hey, can you help us with this? Hey, like, once word got around that like some of this method really worked.
Yeah.
So I kept just practicing and doing my day job. And then it was January, and the HR pulled me in. I still send so much love out to this beautiful woman, Melanie. And she said, are you ready to start your own company? Like, you ready to go do this? I was like, maybe. I was like, why are you asking? What does
Hmm.
that mean? She was like, GE had a practice that they would cut 10% it was like a corporate practice. So every year they were kind of looking at, where can we squeeze the budget? Where did we get fat? Where can we lean out? Whatever. And, and she said, I think I can get you a package if you want it. She's like, if not, we can talk about what else you want to do. I'm like, what does that package look like? And she told me, and it was a year salary. And
Wow.
so I said, yeah, I think I'll take that. And then I literally didn't hear anything. So that conversation came out of the blue. I did not plant any seeds. I did not ask, nothing. energetically, I think I was asking,
Hmm.
but like there was no actual conversation. And then I got called into her office and I didn't really even notice the email. She was just like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, sure. And I walked by her office. I'll be like, I'll be right back. I just got to run to the washroom. And she kind of looked at me weird. And I was like, sorry, I'm just like running from one meeting to another. I came back and then my boss was on the phone. So my boss and the HR
Right.
person and
Right.
me, I was like, oh, I know what is about to happen. Okay, this is awkward and feels weird, right?
Hmm.
So we went through the whole thing. He was crying, she was crying, I was crying. Like we did the whole thing, and I like left that meeting like with a package, with 8 weeks left to work. They were very generous. Like it was very very good terms. But I remember thinking, oh, this is weird and real.
Hmm.
Like, and I really had no, I had, I guess, a bit of a warning in January, but like, I was just going about my days.
Yeah.
And then I left and then I started LuminUS. That was in June. And then I started LuminUS, I think July 31st was our like actual day.
Yeah.
And, and then people say, what did you do? Well, then because I had space, I had a lot to take care of. Some things happened in our family. I just needed to be fully present for my niece that was born 10 weeks premature,
Oh,
to
wow.
help with my brother and sister-in-law, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And like there was just things to tend to.
Hmm.
And and to get really present. And at the time, you're like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be starting a new business. What's happening right now? And you're just like, I have no time for that. But I do have time and space because I had this cushion.
Hmm.
And so then I learned, then I told everybody that I knew, it was maybe 50 people in an email, that I was starting business. And Kathy, bless her, was like using Wix to figure out how to build a
Yep.
website. So she was
Oh, yeah.
like after work, after working as a teacher, putting her 3 kids to bed, she was like, I'll
Making a
play with this
website.
website thing,
Yes.
right? So we were kind of doing that for like the last like 6 months, just like playing around with it. So I was like, okay, I have a website and this is what I'm doing. And then I learned how to garden.
Hmm.
I pulled a lot of weeds. Kathy's a great gardener, so she would call me and I would say, okay, like I have nothing to do today, so I have to be productive. Like, what am I doing? And like, and I cried in the fetal position a lot. Like, I
Hmm.
really, and I share that with people because I didn't build a business plan. I
Yeah.
didn't. I know how to do
Yeah.
one. I was very well trained, but I thought, no, this isn't the same. And I could pour a bunch of energy into that, but I knew it wasn't right. I knew that there was a standing my post time
Hmm.
that those roots had to get really deep. And I had heard somebody say that I'm standing my post, which is essentially like a declaration to the universe that this is what I'm declaring,
Yeah.
how I'm going to show up in the world, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to serve humanity, kind of like that kind of declaration. I'm willing to do this, even though I have no idea how and I
Hmm.
have no idea where to start.
Oh, I love that so much. And I hope that other folks who maybe have been flirting with the idea of entrepreneurship, I hope they really hear that because I think something that's so incredible about you is that you actually know in your bones how important the inner transformation, the inner
Mm-hmm.
work, the inner identity matters.
Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of people kind of make the switch from their corporate life, even having a beautiful package. There is sometimes a lot of like urgency, and a lot of people will kind of use their old job as the cookie cutter for their life as an entrepreneur
Yeah.
when they don't give themselves like time to kind of let that unravel and remember that the way the corporation worked, the way their past career worked is just one of a million ways that a
Yeah.
business can run. And the fun part of entrepreneurship is like we get to, other than like outside of regulated professions, we get to write a lot of the rules. We get to become who maybe we've always wanted to be or who we've always been
Yeah.
without having to conform to like the organizational structure of someone else's business and someone else's dream. And I think that
Yeah.
I mean, I reflect on this all the time as I haven't worked with you for 10 years, but the last couple of years of just having a little bit of an inside line on what's been going on with you. It's something that I always admire is you're never um, frustrated in pushing the universe. You know how to work, you know how to get things done,
That's right.
but you know how to figure things out in your own on your own terms. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people try to apply the way that they used to work to this thing that they are creating or co-creating.
Yeah, and it was a huge undoing.
I bet.
I often talk about when there's transformation, there's always a breakup period.
Oh, so
Like,
well said. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the energy too. Yes.
I
Yes.
had to break up with corporate America, corporate Earth plane.
Corporate
I had to,
global.
corporate
Yes.
global, whatever. I had to break up with it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very hard because I was very used to waking up early. Like I used to wake up so early when my first that we were in the car like at 6 a.m. It was still
Mm-hmm.
dark. I
Yeah.
would drop her off as soon as that daycare opened. I would go to work all day. I would pick her up with the dads that were picking up at like 5 to 6 when the daycare closed.
Yeah.
I would drive back home in the dark again and, get dinner ready and like do all the things and then often hop on a call with Australia at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And that was my world for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And even like through having kids, well, yeah, and through having Sam too, because I had adjusted a few things by then, but not much. And so I had to break up with all of that, and also and let my identity go with all of that. Hence a lot of crying in the fetal position. Like I say that like somewhat joking, but like I'm legitimately serious. It was a lot of crying in the fetal position. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, oh my God, is this stage ever gonna end?
Mm-hmm.
And little did I know that was preparing me for another breaking up that happened a couple years later, where I
Yes.
also cried every day in the shower this
Mm-hmm.
time, away from my kids. But like, there's these stages of like these deep breakups that are very, very real, and they leave a part of you behind.